It took them a few days to get to Anthill. They were hungry, thirsty, and exhausted. But more than anything, they were heartbroken. One of the ant guards noticed the big beetle and he quickly recognized the ant that accompanied it. He called out for the other guards and very quickly Queen Elderanta herself opened the gates of Anthill. The first thing she did was feed and hydrate Antonio and Hercules before letting them rest that night. The following day, all of Anthill gathered in front of the Atlantia Palace to hear what happened to the two ants that left the kingdom for a mission, to hear who was the big beetle that carried the ants back to Anthill, and to hear who the mysterious third ant was. Antonio was unable to talk about the events, so Hercules was the one to speak about everything. He explained it all, how Nathan and Antonio found him, how he knew Nathan from before, how the Cotidu trio attacked them, how they went to see King Stagiron, how he brought them to the crippled knight. He retold Dan's story, every single bit of it. He told them how they went to the Master King's palace, how they saw his body, how they went to the kingdom of Hornest, how Nathan stayed behind to buy them some time, and how he bravely took out the 11 assassins. He told them that they found 10 unconscious and imprisoned, how Caesar mercilessly and without any real reason decided to end the poor ant's life, how when Ozara attacked, it bought them the time to escape Hornest, and how they, on their way back, saw a glimpse of the battle that the wasps won with ease. While he was speaking, not a single ant let out a single word. They all listened carefully and respectfully. Hercules was impressed by the ants' discipline. In the next few days, the funeral for Nathan and Ten was held. They were buried next to each other. The funeral was attended by every single ant in Anthill. But out of all of them, one ant stood out. She stood next to Antonio while the funeral lasted. She stood there and cried along with him. Antina stood there, blaming herself for Ten's death. If only I hadn't yelled at him back then. Back when he told me Antonio left. He would have stayed behind. He would have stayed here. He would still be with us, she kept thinking to herself. Standing in front of the other grave was the queen. Nathan, you died like you lived, bravely and honorably. You accepted this mission knowing that you might not return alive, and for that, I thank you. I thank you in the name of Anthill, and in the name of entire Castana. Your death brought the truth about everything to us, and I will make sure that all of Castana knows it as well. Thank you, Nathan. You were the strongest ant that ever lived. Thank you, Nathan, and may you rest in peace, my child. The queen held her speech, and all of Anthill bowed in honor of the two fallen. Lots has happened in the next couple of seasons. Firstly, a few weeks after Nathan's and Ten's funeral, Antonio and Hercules received Atlantia's medals, the highest award of honor in the Anthill. After that, Hercules moved back to Beetlefield, where him and Dara rebuilt their old house. Elderanta kept her promise, and she made sure that all parts of Castana heard the truth about what happened to the great knights. The citizens of Castana had very mixed reactions about everything that happened. Some blamed Dan, others blamed Caesar, and the rest blamed Dabir. The Wasp army that had saved them from Mozara showed them a new path, a new way of defending themselves against the Grand Menace. Thus the so-called Castanean army was born, an army consisting of any and all warriors who wished to join the fight against Ozara. And the face of it all, the new Castanean Master King, the great Vasporio. The great knights were no more, the ultimate showdown ceased to exist along with them. And finally, Anthill opened its gates once again. After what seemed like an eternity, the Castanean kingdom was united once again. Antonio and Dantina visited Ten's and Nathan's graves often. They were occasionally joined by Idara and Hercules, both of whom looked older and older every time the couple saw them. Until eventually the two of them stopped showing up. Hercules died of old age, shortly after Antonio and Dantina noticed his and Ares's absence. He was buried next to his best friend. "What are you doing, Antonio?" Antina asked him when she noticed that he was packing stuff into a small bag he was carrying. "I'm leaving, Antina," he said, tired from everything. "What?" Antina was worried. "What do you mean you're leaving?" "I'm leaving Castana," he answered. Antina only had a single question. A question that she knew the answer to, so she didn't ask it loudly. "Why?" Antina knew why. There was nothing left in Castana for him. There was nothing left in Castana for them. She knew it and she felt the same way, so instead of saying something, anything, she just took Antonio's leg. The two ants looked one another in the eyes. They were looking at each other for an extended period of time before slowly walking out of their house, out of Anthill and finally out of the tunnel that led outside the Castanean tree. The two ants were holding each other as they slowly got more and more distant from the tree, from the place that was filled with bad memories. The two ants held each other as they disappeared from the field of view. The two ants held each other as they left the kingdom, never to return again. Hello, my name is Veljko Lotarovic. I am the author of this novel. Legacy is a novel that I've been writing passionately for 5 months straight. I've been working on it non-stop pretty much for those 5 months, and I pretty much spent all day either drawing or writing or just thinking about the story in general and the things the things around it, and you know, the world building, the plot, the characters, all the different types of bugs, researching how they look, how they behave, how what their abilities are, what, you know, all those sorts of stuff. And I just wanted to say thank you for listening to my story. I also want to say a few words about the whole process of just, you know, creating a story. I think that this is my greatest story that I made, and I don't think I'll ever write another story like this. I don't think I'll ever write another story again. Really. Just I've been doing this for a long time now, over a decade actually. Just creating stories in general, like Unknown World, which some of you may know, is a comic that I've been passionately working on for over 7 years, and you can read it for free on Tapas if you want to. It's a parody comic, really, of just everything my younger self thought of at the time. Just really, it's a silly comic to, you know, kill some time, have some fun. Then I had a novel named The Element Games. It's about this this gambler who, this sad guy who just went into a huge gambling debt, and then got into some illegal games to try to reclaim his debt. Met a friend there, met a girl, and it's a tragic story about, you know, life, about gambling, about just life in general. And it was my first novel. It's not really great. I'm aware of that. I was really young at the time, and I didn't really know English that well, so there was a lot of mistakes, a lot of places for improvement, and so on. And um, you know, after a while, I just had this idea. I was really inspired by Hollow Knight and similar stories, and just always wanted to make some big stories, something something about this huge falling kingdom. I always liked that concept of like a kingdom that's falling apart, that the heroes are missing, the something some great evil is like approaching or is currently present, and just the whole place is this dystopian, desperate world where despair and depression are pretty much everything for the common citizens. And just I wanted to make this big story, and I spent a lot of time, a lot of sleepless nights just creating this novel, creating uh, this story, this whole story. And the reason I chose bugs was because I don't really know how to draw humans, so that's probably the main reason I chose bugs. But also, bugs are kind of fascinating. You know, there are upon thousands of different species. Like the beetles alone, there's like, I don't know, a bajillion types of beetles. So you can really use that to your advantage, and I thought of it as a way to present, you know, different types of people. Yeah, like different personalities, different mentalities. Like for example, the ants, they're you know like what you would expect from like an ant colony. They all work unanimously, or like the mantis folks who worship their queen in this church, and they to them that's their goddess, you know, their godmother, if you will. Or like the wasp folks who are just constantly, you know, overthrowing their political leaders, you know. And then there's Beetlefield, who's like this big city that has all types of people living in it, all different types of bugs who are all, you know, living in peace with each other, living their day-to-day lives like this kind of, you know, a utopia, a small utopia inside the whole kingdom, that once the actual structure of that utopia, the great knights, fall, the whole thing just collapses. It just, you know, I kind of wanted to present it in that type of way. And I know this afterword is a bit long, but even longer than some chapters. But I just want to say some stuff. So yeah, that was my thinking of just presenting things. But also there was one more thing where I put a little bit of myself in a lot of characters, like whether it's my insecurities or my strengths or my weaknesses or whatever. I just put a lot of myself into a lot of these characters. And this story kind of represents, you know, me a little, maybe a little more, from some sides, like, and in other characters I put personalities of some people I know, whether it's some people from my family or some other people in my life. I just, yeah. And also I wanted to thank a few people. I wanted to thank Emily. She's a friend from afar who always, like, as soon as I posted a chapter online, which I did like every fucking week, I was insane. Like, I wrote that Caesar chapter in what, a couple of days, maybe. It was like I just worked overtime on writing that. I'm getting off topic. Anyhow, Emily, would, as soon as I uploaded a chapter, she would always read it first and always comment on it, on every bit of detail, on characters, and just she drew me this amazing fan art. A few actually. This was what you see on screen is the first fan art I received. It's Dan the Mighty. and it's fucking amazing. And as when I received it, I was just blown away. She's very talented, and honestly, she just drew him better than me. And wow, just thank you, Emily. Thank you, really, not only for this, but for the other fan arts you see us on screen now. That's her work also. And I received these for my birthday. They're all awesome. I love them, and it makes me so happy that there's someone who like enjoys this and just enjoys my story. And all those comments I see when I like there aren't many, but when I see a comment from someone, it means a lot, really. And there's a few other people I would like to thank. I would like to thank Gigi. She commissioned actually Emily for one of the fan arts you saw previously. I also want to thank Pompastic. She also drew me an awesome fan art for Bertie. She drew Moteas the Shiny here, as you can see. And also want to thank a few other friends. I want to thank Lazarus. I want to thank JK. I want to thank Aurora, Moon. All of you people. You just really mean so much to me. Christy, Nick, Paradox, Spec, Jobless. You're all just. I'm really glad I got to know you throughout this community, the Tapas forums, and just the little community we created. And yeah, thank you, really. And of course, thank you for listening to this, all of you who made it this far, who stuck to the end, all of you who leave a comment, all of you who like or even dislike. Just really thank you for giving my story a chance. And yeah, now in this part I would like to just say a couple more things. Like, there's a lot of scrap material too. Like, there used to be this part of the story that I just couldn't fit in. It was inside the Montesian tribe, and their queen, she was making love to her husband, and by making love I mean eating his head, like literally killing him, decapitating him. And while she was doing so, the trio of heroes would enter the room, and they would see her, and she would be like, I'm in the middle of making love to my husband, and you dare disrupt me, and she would call the guards. And then her son, the prince, would come, and he would like be like, no, don't attack them. I want to spare with whoever. Well, I don't remember. Was it like Hercules or like Antonio who would fight him? And like that whole just small part of the story stuck in my head. I tried putting it inside the story, but I realized that it wouldn't really make sense plot-wise for them to go there when they knew the whole story after Dan told them. And so that's one of the scrap materials. There was also like some events that I wanted to just mention or just put in, but I realized that putting them in without any really plot reason for them to be in would really just be slop. It would just not contribute to the story. For example, the battlefield. I think I had a flood. Like if it was raining and then the city was like flooded, or like some event that happened like ages ago, that would be mentioned by someone they meet, but that was crap. There was also this gatekeeper. I don't really remember what I wanted to do with it, but there were no gates to keep, I guess. And also there was like a few other side characters, like gag characters, if you will. There was this Stingbug murderer wasp that was actually suggested by my friend, because he just we used to be roommates, and he would just kill this, like he would have like a stingbug infestation in his room, and he would just kill all of them. Like, he killed hundreds of fucking stingbugs. And then I joked that he was like a stingbug hunter. And then I found a wasp that was literally a stingbug assassin, stingbug hunter. And then I wanted to implement that into the story. And like when they were in Hornets, they would like meet this mysterious hunter guy that we just his whole personality was he wanted to murder every single stink bug in existence, quote, because they stink. So basically, a racially motivated war crime, but I didn't implement that in the story, so that would have been fire actually. But yeah, also wouldn't really make sense plot wise for them to just go on that side quest. So yeah, there's a lot of just probably like fuck all, I don't know, like I dare to say like 1,000 hours put into this. Not only counting the writing, the drawing, the thinking, but also the recording of this audio novel, the side stuff related to Castana. Just I'm sure I just put like 1,000 hours into this whole story, and yeah. Into description you will have a lot of like links. You can check out my work. You can check out my friends' work, and yeah, in the pinned comment I should have said this at the beginning, but yeah, in the pinned comment you have some notes, like some little notes about the story if you're confused about some parts of it that were mostly like footnotes that I just didn't read footnotes in the audio novel. They are present like in an online version where if you read it there were footnotes somewhere, and I put the important footnotes in the pinned comment. So yeah, if you're confused about something, please read the comment first, then ask in the comments. I will pretty much answer any question that you put. I will do my best to answer any and all questions related to the story, and just I generally just want to hear your opinion on who's like your favorite character, what part of the story did you like the most. Like I love to hear that shit as a writer, and yeah, if you got like a few minutes to spare, just write me your opinions on the story, positive, negative, I don't really care, just your opinions. I want to hear your honest and true opinions about the story. And yeah, there's also one other thing I'm working on. It's related to my first novel, The Element Games. I'm actually making this RPG, and I don't know when it will be completed. It can be like 20 decades from now. I don't fucking know. Making a game is fucking time consuming and difficult, especially while studying. So yeah, I'm just working that. I'm mentioning it here so that you're aware. I'll put there's like a link to the novel if you want to check it out. But I'll probably post like trailers or like something related to the game when the time comes. So yeah, that's the afterword, and I wish you all a great day. Thank you for watching, listening, and bye.